My name's Dale Oakley, and I'm the Assistant Director of Natural Resources for the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe. Our ancestors worked the waters to feed their families. When a tribal person teaches their son or daughter to harvest shellfish or just to fish in general, that's a way to connect to our culture. We rely on the water, the groundwater, to grow food, and if the nutrients are excessive and water quality is being degraded, we'll see that in our everyday life. Nitrogen particularly has an effect on wildlife habitat and nature, not just in the water. So when you think about nitrogen in the bays, you're thinking about loss of saltwater marshes. You're thinking about loss of habitat for, say, for example, herring, trout, oysters, scallops, different plants like eelgrass. They all rely on the water, and when water quality is down, everything else is kind of down as well. There are many causes of nitrogen surplus in our waters. The main one is residential and commercial building. When you start building a lot of houses, especially around ponds, rivers, bays, you get what's called stormwater runoff, and that's from things like pet waste, fertilizer. When you get driveways, streets, and sidewalks, you get what's called impermeable barriers, which means naturally when rainfall occurs, it can soak into the ground, and that acts as a natural filtration system. That's not happening with driveways, streets, sidewalks, and rooftops. And what happens is all that water starts to run off and starts to go down slope towards the ponds and the rivers. And when that happens, there's no natural filtration system. So all this excess nitrogen is going directly into our surface waters. And that can cause a whole host of problems like increased algal growth. Santuit Pond is very, very much so impaired. It suffers from harmful algal blooms every single summer. Now, an algal bloom what it does is it impairs certain qualities of the water, mainly being dissolved oxygen. All kinds of aquatic life, plants and animals, rely on certain levels of dissolved oxygen to be able to function, to live. Our relatives are smart. They'll eventually just stop coming up the river. They'll stop going to the ponds where they've been going for time immemorial. Development went like this, water quality went like this, and that's where we're at now. We listen to our ancestors and our elders, and they tell us stories of when, for example, herring run season, when all the rivers would run black, which means there were millions of fish, there were millions of trout. When they were younger, it was different. They could be themselves without having to rely so much on the outside world to provide for themselves and their family and stay connected to their culture. And that's not so much the case now. It's up to like my generation and the generations to come to help address these problems, because now we're at the age where we got to think about our future kids and our grandkids and what's going to be left in our homeland for them to enjoy.